It's 4 o'clock. Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to call the Warrick County Commissioners meeting to order. Today is July 24th, 2023, at 4 p.m. Sheriff, could you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As always, first order of business is area plan.
Our first item would be a partial release of a drainage easement recorded in document 2012-01-1574. This did go to Drainage Board today, and I believe they approved it subject to a hold harmless. The initial document that dedicated this easement was made out to the Warrick County, just to Warrick County, not the Warrick County Drainage Board. So we would like, if the commissioners would consent, to have their signature on this as well.
This is the pool that we just went through in Drainage Board.
What was the name on that again, Molly?
The name of the owner,
Yes.
it's in Paradise Garden subdivision.
Now, what are you needing, Molly?
Andrew Phillips.
You need us to do what?
We have a partial release of the drainage easement. The initial one was made to the to Warrick County, so we would legally need Warrick County, aka Commissioners of Warrick County, to sign off so they can release this. And this is what would be recorded and crossed to the plat.
But is that going to coincide with Maury's letter?
That's what I was getting ready to ask council is should we wait until we get the two-way hold harmless and the what do you call it? The ability to go in and do work, the right of way.
So Maury's going to do a hold harmless. Two-way hold harmless
Mm-hmm.
and a right of entry.
Mm-hmm.
So do we grant this now or do we wait till?
You can come back when that's been signed, or you can approve it subject to the completion of the hold harmless. Just hold off on recording this until you receive it.
Okay. And then no permits would be issued until we have everything.
Correct.
Good with that?
I make a motion to approve subject to the two-way hold harmless and the right of entry being signed and completed by our council. And for APC to hold all improvement plans or improvement paperwork until that is done.
Second.
I have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0.
Next, we have a request to rezone this PCR 2304 by Special Waste Services by Joe Beard, owner, and then the owner is J. Rose Properties LLC by Joe Beard. This was continued from the July 10th Commissioners meeting.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Go ahead if you have anything new for us.
State your name.
Matt Hills.
Joe Beard.
Anything new to present?
There's really nothing new to present per se. It's still we're trying to still deal with the same waste stream. Grease trap waste that's already gone down a sink, and we're trying to get the permit to solidify that waste at our facility for easier disposal. And in order to do that, IDEM is requiring us to be zoned M3. That's their permit requirements for this process.
So I have a question for Joe. Joe, I spoke to one of your neighbors this weekend up there on Prospect, and I told him that we were going to be hearing this again today, and I'm just going to quote, what he said. Well, he said, well, he used to spread that out on the back parking lot, take a skid steer and spread it all around. My question to you is that's not going to be done.
Never was.
So, never was. Okay, well, he said something was spread around the back, and he said it smelled horrible, blah, blah, blah. So I just, and Joe, you got to understand, we got residents to the kind of north of you there, and then you hear stuff like that, while we sit here and we like to be pro-business, we also want to be responsible too. So I know, this is kind of drug on a bit, but, we know you're going to be under the watchful eye of IDEM and that kind of thing. And you do have somebody on staff here to sit there and hopefully, hold everybody's feet to the fire. We hope you're going to do your job. And so, and I, Joe, I think, maybe, some of that did go on years ago. And, I think, people get better and can do better things and be more compliant and that kind of thing. And so I hope that's where we're at today. So that's just what I want to add. So. But, or I do want to add one thing. Joe, you did say that all that's taking place inside now, right? Didn't you guys?
The solidification of the grease is done indoors.
Indoor.
Yes. Now, the solidification for the car wash, like grit pit waste, is done in a concrete barrier outdoors. Yeah,
But there's
no
odor to
there's
that.
No odor to that.
that's just
You're not-
dirt off your
You're
cars.
not washing big farm trucks or anything.
No, no.
Well, I mean, on the car wash pits, it's just like going down to Tommy's Car Wash,
Yeah.
pumping the sludge out of the tank, and bring it back to the shop. You put it in you dump it into a roll off that filters, that lets water, much like what you put down underneath your driveway. When you put in a rock driveway or something, you spread that felt out, and well, that's the same kind of material that lets the water pass through, lets the solids, we collect,
Keeps
keeps the solids in, we collect the water and dispose of the water.
There can't be too much of an odor to the driveway or to the car wash stuff.
No,
It's just stench from sitting so long, if anything. I mean, a bucket of water will turn septic over a period of time. But the grease trap waste that we pick up from the grease traps, now, just want to reiterate, a grease trap is out of the kitchen, all the drains out of the kitchen of a restaurant or food establishment has to go through a grease trap before it connects to the sewer. And we take our trucks out, pump them grease traps completely out, bring it back to the shop, put it in a frac tank, or if it's outside of Vandenberg County, it comes back to the shop, goes in a frac tank, 6,000 gallons. Truck comes up, picks it up, and takes it to either Louisville or Paducah, like I explained last time.
You don't dry that out.
Not at this point, because we have to go through these steps with IDEM in order to have the permit in order to do so. As you guys can assume, the cost of transportation is crazy, even for a person that's in transportation. It's huge. Fuel cost, driver cost, insurance cost. We're just trying to simplify the method. It's a regulated material to begin with by IDEM. Our city governments are all around this area. Tri-state area is regulating how often the grease traps need to be pumped. And we're just trying to provide a more economical solution here locally.
Joe, let me talk to you directly. I'm going to tell you what's on my mind. I think I'm pretty sure I know where Commissioner Johnson stands. I'm not 100% sure where Commissioner Saylor stands, but I feel like I'm sitting here probably being the deciding vote on this. I got a lot of concerns. My concerns aren't necessarily with the grease trap and the car wash trap efficiency project that you're working on here. It's just everything that I've heard in the past. Had a lot of people come to me in remonstrance privately and individually. Haven't had anybody come to me promoting this other than you two guys. I understand what you're doing, but I still just have a lot of concerns. And I think the only way that I could be convinced to say yay would be turn to council here. We have a county inspector. If we didn't have a county inspector, I don't know that I'd be comfortable with it. If we know we got a set of eyes over here that you would allow to come inspect the operations periodically,
I have no problem with that.
I would get closer to saying yes. And would that fall under that doesn't fall under any of our ordinances. Maybe that would be just an extracurricular task to pin on him.
Could be a nuisance.
Could end up as a nuisance.
Comes under nuisance, of course, there's health code thing as well in terms of what's in there.
Yeah.
And how long it sits and what could be, but, yeah.
Let me chime in here just for some. This could be a good thing for you guys, because now if we get a complaint, we're probably picking up the phone calling IDEM, and that might not be the best thing for you guys. It might be better to handle locally. Hey, Jeff, can you go down there and check on this? Sit there and where Jeff can meet and talk with you, explain some things. And because if somebody calls us, they want answers.
Sure.
They want an answer and get us an answer quick. And IDEM's not going to be real quick, but that might be a good thing.
I've always, even
considered.
considering IDEM, I've always had an open door policy with IDEM. We've never asked them to leave or, whatever they've ever asked for, we oblige. And I would have no problem whatsoever having the same with Warrick County.
And just to check another box here, Molly, I believe the M3 zoning specifically for this business, no other businesses can come in and operate under that M3 zoning.
Correct. If anything changes, ownership changes.
Yep.
Any part of their development, they want to build a building, anything changes, they would have to come back and zone.
Only thing they can do under this is do what they're doing now
Yes,
and run the grease trap operation.
yes.
Joe, how many lots do you have out there? Is it just the two?
There's 3.
3. And am I reading this correct? It's just for lots 7 and 8?
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct. Yes.
it sounds right.
Is that
Which
correct,
one's,
Molly?
is it 7, 8, 9 or 6, 7, and 8? Or do you
It's
remember?
the two eastern lots.
I know the addresses. I don't remember the lot numbers.
Understood.
I apologize.
The APC recommended keeping the third lot, the M2 for the trucking company.
I do remember that. Thank you.
Any other comments? I'll I'll entertain a motion should someone want to make one.
I will make a motion to approve based on local inspections that will be made available at any time by our local inspector, Jeff Daly, or the commissioner appointee. Okay, that's my motion.
So,
I'm not going to second it, but I'll explain my reasoning why, and that is for the residents that live out there. I just think that this is, I'm concerned for them. I'm concerned for the children that work, play in their backyards. I, in good conscience, can't vote for this. That's where I'm at.
understood. And with Dan's motion and the inspection and you playing team ball, and understanding that, whatever we've been told, whether it be true or false, that if it's true, then there's always the chance that people get better. I'll second Dan's motion and just hope that you guys do what you say you're going to do.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So is that a nay?
Yep.
Sweet.
Just still need to take a vote.
Yep. So Dan's made the motion. I've seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nope.
So we have a 2-1. There you go. Thank you,
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, yes.
What would that ordinance number be?
I believe it was vote for 14 on the agenda, so 15.
Thank you. Our next item is a street acceptance, Magnolia Place by Chris Combs owner, Nolia Lane at 1,501 feet, holding 22,500 in escrow. They've had 6.5 years. Surety expires April 15th of 23. Must be 24. And then some of that is for drainage. We're holding 7,500 for drainage. And the county surveyor is asked to maintain 7,500 for drainage. And then I believe we had some comments. We got a punch list on the streets, but not an approved dollar amount.
Okay, so with the punch list, well, first, the acceptance for maintenance, we have to have the drainage before we can accept the streets for maintenance. Secondly, there was a inspection done by the county inspector. Myself, Steve Sherwood, were out, creating a punch list on Monday.
Drainage.
The 20th. And found that there was some additional cracking in the curves, and would ask that those be sealed as well. They sent this inspection packet on July 20th to develop. But with the drainage still not being approved, and some very minor things here, but it's required of all developments that I would ask that the cracking be sealed at a minimum. On this list, some of these are just typical placeholders, clean on streets, free road, free painted. That's just standard language we put in there, but it was something that just regarded at this time. So that's just where we stand on it right now. I would recommend no discussion.
No reduction.
So we just tabling this?
I'd say we take a motion on it.
Yeah, the surety, it expires, it's August 22nd is when it expires. And it is surety in escrow.
So realistically, we have about 2 weeks to, or 3 weeks to the next meeting, isn't it? They have enough time, in 3 weeks to get this done. To be able, we already have it in escrow.
It's in escrow, so yeah, that's APC wise, we're fine. The 14th is the next commissioners meeting. We wanted to table it.
Council, what are their options? Table it,
Table
approve
it,
it contingent.
You approve it contingent on completion.
On that, before that date.
I'll make a motion to table until August 14th.
Second.
We have a first and a second, all in favor.
Aye.
My motion carries 3-0.
That is all I had. Well, thank you.
Next item on our agenda is an EMS update from Tony O'Neill.
Thank you. Tony O'Neill with Ascension St. Vincent Warrick EMS. I got a copy of our 2022 annual report. I want to apologize that I'm so late in the year getting this to you with the news, with the new station, the new ambulance, and trying to get that off the ground. It just got away from me. But I kind of wanted to just highlight some of the things that we were able to accomplish in 2022. We finished the year with about 7,436 EMS runs for the county, which was slightly higher than 2021. We also, some of the fire departments got Lucas devices, so we created a protocol and some training for the fire departments. We've done some multiple trainings with the sheriff's department and some fire departments with Narcan and CPR. Ascension did purchase an ambulance back in 21. We did take delivery in that one in 2022, and obviously that's been in service. We did multiple standbys for sporting events, the 4-H fair, and other things throughout the county. Participated in several District 10 drills. One of the big things we also did in 2022 was we developed a protocol on where we're not running code 3 in the county all the time. Our policy used to be we'd run code 3 on everything. So we looked at the safety and the times, and we determined that really if these people were already in a hospital or in a place of being cared for, there's no need to run code 3 lights and sirens during that time. So we developed a protocol, and that seems to be working well for the county and for EMS. We had 58 student ride-alongs in 2022. We ordered some new cardiac monitors for the ambulances, some new first-in bags. We also ordered new CAD computers for the ambulances, as well as putting TV screens in all the stations with the CAD on there so the crews knew where the ambulances were all the time. So page 3 is kind of a layout of how our runs fell out throughout the year. We had, out of the 7,400 runs, about 4,500 of those went to hospitals. 1,300 of those were refusals. We had a few hospital transfers and about 435 non-county runs throughout the year that we did. And then the last page is just a quick update on kind of where we are in 2023. On March 1st, we put the 6th truck in operation out at the new fire EMS station on Libert Road. Since March 1st, we've made 625 medical runs out of that new station with Medic One. We've seen a reduction in our response time from the time we're dispatched to the call. And our number of runs that fell out of our agreed time has reduced by about 20 since we put the 6th ambulance on as well. So we definitely have seen some improvements with the 6th ambulance helping with the volume here in the county. We're also partnering with the new tech center, Warrick County Technical Center. We put an EMT program together out there, and we're going to be their training provider for the school out there and providing assistance with that out there. So we're pretty excited about that as well.
So Tony, what does that mean? Does that mean if, high schooler kid goes to school out there, takes classes for 6 months or a year?
A year.
What does that mean?
At the end of,
comes out with?
yeah, after the end of their, the class out there, they'll actually be ready to test out for EMT certification. So,
And that can be then, could that be put on the ambulance?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
deal.
yeah, so,
It'll take a year to get that certification.
yeah, so most of those are seniors that are going into that class. I think, talking to Drew, the new principal out there, we've got 9 students already set up for this school year. And we've got our instructor and everything in place. So we're pretty excited about that program, especially with the shortages of EMTs and medics right now. I'm kind of glad to see we're starting to do some things locally to build that up.
Now, during that year, will they be able to do ride-alongs or anything with you? I mean, do you have that?
Yes, they'll be doing some of their clinicals with us and the ride-alongs, and Ascension will be having them at the hospital for X amount of hours for training in the ER. Any questions on any of that?
Can you reiterate to me what you said about your critical care ambulance?
Oh, thank you, Terry. Yes, I do want to bring that in front of the commissioners. So Ascension St. Vincent decided to put a critical care transport truck on at the main campus hospital. This is something totally independent of Warrick EMS. We are not involved with that. We don't staff that. It's not part of our financing or part of connected to us in any way. So they're putting a truck on to do their critical care patient transfers up to a higher level of care. So I know you'll probably see that truck running around the county. I just wanted to ensure the commissioners that that's not being funded by us or we're involved with that at all.
Thank you.
So,
Thanks, Tom.
all right, thank you.
Thank you, John. Appreciate what you do. Okay, next order of business is the action agenda, and item A is the approval of minutes from the July 10th, 2023 regular session.
Make a motion to approve the July 10th, 2023 regular session minutes.
Second?
First and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
My motion carries 3-0. And then a resolution 2023-02 concerning the support for the Ohio River Crossing Grant Funding, which is right here. Council, please tell me I don't have to read this whole thing out loud.
Please don't read.
So the resolution, again, 2023-02, concerning support for the Ohio River Crossing Grant Funding. Obviously, this is in support of the new I-69 bridge. So that's ready for our approval.
Little more story to that. I think the region is going to be sending some letters to the Fed for some federal monies to come back to this area. So all the counties are doing this to try to get some of those dollars to come back to speed that project up and also to help with some local dollars.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a first and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
My motion carries 3-0. And the next order of business is our county administrator.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tonight I only have the consent agenda, and on the consent agenda is the county auditor claims voucher, report date 7/19/2023. And payroll voucher 7/14/2023 was on the original document that was sent out, but shortly after I received 7/28. So we've added that as well. The weights and measures report from 6/16 through 7/15 of 2023. The surplus declaration of the highway department vehicles, there are 3 of them, and I have listed the last 6 of the VIN for each of those. It's a 2012 Dodge Charger, a 2011 Crown Vic, and a 2020 Crown Vic. The Bridge 310 Parcel 2 Administrative Settlement, Surplus Declaration of Meeting Room Electronics, the Clerk's Monthly Report from June 2023, and the request to use the Warrick Wellness Trail for the Total Joint Trek for 2023.
I really have no other questions there. Mike, I appreciate what you do on the weights and measures. Always enjoy hearing from you. You always have some interesting stories, but if he has nothing to report, I will go ahead and approve the consent agenda. Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a first and a second, all in favor.
All right.
My motion carries 3-0. Bobby, we can do auction those cars off.
Yeah, but for the record, I believe that one is a 2010, not 2020.
Thank
I
you.
figured we wrecked it.
Thank you. We will correct that.
The Ford Crown Vic.
Yeah, the last one.
Yeah, the last one,
326.
5326. Disturbing about the
Got my attention. Okay, the next order of business is our county attorney.
Thank you, Mr. President. First item on the agenda today is what is numbered as ordinance 2023-14, which is an ordinance of the Board of Commissioners of Warrick County, Indiana, adopting a new chapter of the Code of Ordinances of Warrick County, Indiana, regulating noise. And this ordinance would do a number of things, mainly restricting audible sounds in different times of the day, depending on the type of noise that is being generated. I was looking for, I don't see that copies were made for me to give to you, but I know you had received that by email. I'm not sure if you had any questions, but I can run through some of this. Talks about power tools. It would limit those to the hours of 10 and 7, including power saws, grinders, lawnmowers, that sort of thing. Construction, limit that sound from 7 p.m. Prohibit between 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. And I should say the power tools, 10 to 7 is also p.m. to a.m., where you cannot use power tools between 10 at night and 7 in the morning. There's other social gatherings, where the noise is crossing over property boundaries between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m., yelling and shouting, 10 p.m., 7 a.m. There are exceptions for various purposes, including school events, of course, are exempt from this. Any items that are sounds that are emitted for emergency purposes, of course, are regulated or exempt from this. Agriculture activities are exempt. Special events at community parks would be exempt for this. And of course, there's also an ability to apply for a permit to be exempt from some of these regulations as well. There are penalties involved. The sheriff's office would, of course, be enforcing this ordinance. Penalties, the first offense within a 12-month period would be a fine of amount not less than $300, with the subsequent within the same 12-month period of not less than $1,000, but not to exceed $2,500 for violations. There are decibels defined in here, these provide another tool for the sheriff's department to regulate excessive noise complaints, which having an ordinance on the books will help them in doing that.
So Andrew, I have a question. So, understanding if we declare a state of emergency, then this is, for to come in and we're cutting trees and limbs all through the night, what happens if there's not a declaration of emergency and, our highway department gets called out at 2 or 3 in the morning for, a limb across the road? Is this, we got verbiage in here to so we won't be in violation of our own ordinance with our highway just going out doing normal, normal maintenance that's, obviously not done during the day. However, we get calls out at all hours of the day and night. I just want to make sure that we won't be in direct conflict with that. Sheriff, do you want to add anything? I know we talked a little bit, and you're, I know there's a lot of guys that wanted this tool in their toolbox, and I'm excited about giving this tool to them because I think it's been long overdue. However, we don't want to create something that's going to cause, I don't know, more problems than it fixes.
Yeah, Sheriff Mike Wilder. Yeah, I mean, I've read through this. There's some things in there as you read it. I'm sure it's like, oh, you can't use a power tool after 10. That's not, I don't think, what the ordinance is after. I mean, it is for people that continually do that. Someone's tree falls on their house in the middle of the night. I mean, officers have discretion when to use this, or the county. I think we're looking for those repeat offenders. We've asked them to turn it down. Their neighbors are clearly creating issues, and they just don't care to be a bad neighbor because there's nothing out there. So is this perfectly written? I don't know. I'm not saying it is or isn't, but I think it's up to officers to use good discretion. But what we're looking for is, I think when we're called out, a lot of times we ask people, hey, we can obviously hear it from the street. Can you turn down? It's 11:30 at night, and they're like, no, and they keep playing their music. We had no way to really, nothing to stand on. So this gives us that, and I think for the most part it's written pretty well, and we'll try to use it to discretion. It's hard to write an ordinance for every single instance that could pop up. But this is written for the people that continuously make noise after asked to turn it down.
And it's amazing. I've talked to several shift sergeants and a few of the deputies, and it's amazing what these habitual offenders know, what they can get away with, and what the deputies and sergeants have to put up with, to the point where they tell them get off the property, give them the middle finger, and tell them turn around and walk away. That's some of the things that our deputies got to deal with on a daily basis. And so I'm excited about getting this tool, because I think the sheriff and I were talking a little bit just back here just a while ago. This is only for about really 1% to 2% of the people that's really going to, have an effect on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just it. We're not out looking. This isn't a wide problem, but if it's a problem for a few, and there was no teeth to do anything about it.
Thanks. You don't have to. No, it's not a public hearing. So this ordinance, this is the first time it's been introduced. You can make a motion, as long as it's unanimous, to approve this, both the first and second reading today in the same meeting, if it's unanimous.
We do that.
This would be
All in one?
14. Yes, we
do it
can.
all in one? I make a motion to approve upon first and second reading.
I will second that.
No changes, as is.
As is, I think right now, and if there's something that we feel that's getting abused, or the sheriff feels like that he feels like something's getting abused, obviously we're elected official, he's elected official. If he feels like there's something he don't like, he will come back to us and say, we need to fix this.
Got it.
So I like that.
So I have a first and a second on first and second reading. Ordinance 2023-14. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
My motion carries 3-0.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is Resolution 2023-03. And this actually, B and C are combined as one item. I don't have a C, but this is a resolution that would approve the petitioners of Warrick County for requesting the leasing of a new county sheriff's office and security facility. And I'll pass down some of these. I'm actually going to bring, and also approving a form of a proposed lease that the county building commission just met, building corporation just met and approved the same lease form. But I'm going to actually bring up Brad Bingham. He's going to talk through introduce this resolution, the purpose of the resolution, and answer any questions you have as bond counsel.
Good afternoon. Brad Bingham with Barnes and Thornburg, serving as bond counsel to the county on this, the new jail project. As Andrew mentioned earlier this afternoon, the building corporation had their first meeting at which they approved a form of the lease. This is really the first step in the legal process to authorize the financing for the jail project. I think as Andrew passed out, there's the resolution 2023-03 and a form of the lease. I wanted to say a few comments on what it covers and then maybe make a few points on that. So the lease itself is what we call an abatement lease. And so it's a lease of the facility from the building corporation to the county. If there's ever any damage or destruction of leased premises, your obligation to pay rent is abated. That's why we call it an abatement lease. And courts have said that is not indebtedness of the county. It's just an accepted financing structure, and that's why we use it. The lease itself would be for a maximum period of 20 years. It would be payable from the county's public safety lit revenue. And if that was ever insufficient, it would be paid from a property tax backup. The maximum annual lease rental payment under the lease, as currently drafted, is $4,950,000. And the way that would work is that's the cap on what lease rentals could be. What is not known at this point are actual construction costs, nor the interest rates on the bonds. And so once those two variables are determined, that lease rental payment that's stated in the lease will be amended and reduced, because you want that to be tied to what your actual debt service is on the bonds, which is tied to the project being financed. Again, as I mentioned earlier, 20 years is the maximum term. That's driven by the property tax backup. That's the longest you can go out under Indiana law for an obligation payable from property taxes. So this resolution, as Andrew mentioned, it approves the form of a petition. So under the statute we're working under, there has to be a petition received by the commissioners requesting that you go through this lease financing process. That sufficient petition has been received, and so this resolution acknowledges that. In addition, it makes a determination that the building corporation has been formed on behalf of the county. That's a requirement under federal tax laws. So the building corporation, it's a nonprofit corporation, but all the board of directors are appointed by the board of commissioners. You can remove members. When the financing is completed, the asset has to be transferred back to the county. So it's really a closely held entity to the county, although it is separate and distinct. It's not a political subdivision. This resolution also approves the articles of incorporation and the appointment of Dan Hendrickson, Eric Pryor, and Michael Wilson as the initial board of directors for the building corporation. Makes a determination that the project is necessary and needed, and also acknowledges that subject to all proceedings required by law, that one more series of bonds would be issued to finance the project, issued by the building corporation. Maximum term of those bonds would be 20 years, and the aggregate maximum principal amount would not exceed $65 million. Again, those are maximum numbers. Actual numbers will be known once the construction bids would be received. It acknowledges that, again, upon redemption or retirement of all the bonds, the project would be accepted by the county once the debt is paid off. And approves the form of this lease agreement and agrees that this is the basis of a hearing. So that's the next step that has to happen, would be public notice and then a hearing on the actual lease itself. Timeline-wise, what we're anticipating, again, this is kind of the first step of the process. We are anticipating that council will consider a resolution at its August 3rd meeting to also approve the form of this lease and make a determination and agree to the plan of finance. And assuming that goes according to plan, Building Corporation will have its second meeting on August 7th. And then, as I mentioned earlier, there'd be a public hearing and a final confirmatory resolution of the Board of Commissioners on August 14th. At that point in time, the lease could be executed. There's a couple notices we still have to publish, but by and large, the legal proceedings for the financing will be completed. And at that point, we'll be waiting on Garmong and RQAW to finish design development in the construction documents.
And we'll have to essentially wait because would not sell bonds until construction bids would be received and you're within budget and you have a financeable project. So I'll pause there and take any questions you may have on the resolution, the form of the lease, the process, anything at all.
I should explain the reason for the lease at all, which is the project of this size and scope is the county is unable to fund this due to constitutional debt limits that are in place in Indiana. So there would be no way for the county to go into a debt for the size of this project on its own. So therefore, a building corporation, a nonprofit building corporation is formed, and the nonprofit building corporation takes on the debt. It takes on the ownership of the building, it takes on the ownership of the land and the debt itself. Then the building corporation will own that for 20 years and will lease it to the county. The county will pay a lease payment that is equal to the bond payment that the building corporation has to pay for the bond. So it is a way to finance a project of this size and not run afoul of the Indiana constitutional debt limits on counties. We'll actually end up leasing the new location for this facility, and we will also actually end up leasing the old location for a period of time as well during construction. So this is not agreeing to enter into a lease today. This is simply agreeing to the structure itself and agreeing to the building corporation being formed and the petition, validating the petition has been received with 50 county property owners signing it, and then approving the terms of the lease of a debt lease rental not to exceed 4.95 and a total principal amount not to exceed $65 million.
Did you say you wanted items B and C approved in one motion or not?
C should actually have just been wrapped up in B. I think when I sent it, it was confusing and I didn't, yeah, but B is a resolution which is approving the lease. So yeah, C would be wrapped up in B.
It's all documented here in Resolution 2020.
Correct. The attachment, the actual lease itself, I did not print for you. It's 15, 16, 20 pages long, but yes.
Commissioners, any other questions or comments?
No, sir.
We just need to approve the resolution 2023-03.
Yep.
Correct.
I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 2023-03.
All right, second that.
I have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
My motion carries 3-0.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brad.
Is that all, council?
That is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Next order of business is our county engineer and highway superintendent.
Thank you. I just have two projects for bid opening today. The first of which is preventative maintenance bridge 309 Bargersville, Middle Creek. These are advertised twice in the local paper, and we have two bids received. First of which is CLR Inc. And their total bid is $353,009.80. Again, that is $353,009.80.
The next one I have is Blankenburger Brothers. This bid is for the sum of $283,900. That is $283,900. And both contractors bid the same option, Group 1, with the silica method modified. Same bid. I'd recommend approving the low bidder on this one, subject to the bid being responsive and responsible. And it'll be reviewed by our consultants and myself.
Make a motion to approve the low bidder, Blankenburger, for $283,900. Contingent on highway superintendent and the consultant approving all the paperwork and make sure that all bids are same.
Okay. Have a first and a second, all in favor.
Aye.
My motion carries 3-0.
The next project I have is the bid for the Anderson and Van Road Roundabout project. This was also bid or advertised twice, and we had 3 proposals submitted. Yeah. This proposal is from Blankenburger Brothers. The total bid, $1,829,551.50. Again, that is $1,829,551.50. The next bid is from Regal Inc. This bid proposal is $1,956,464.59. Again, that total is $1,956,464.59. The last bid is from JBI Construction. Their bid is $1,668,903.55. Again, that bid is $1,668,903.55. $903.55. And we have an aggressive timeline on construction on this. Trying to get this open for the holidays if we could, depending on some utility work. So again, I'd recommend going with the low bidder, subject to the bid being responsive and responsible, reviewed by myself and the consultant.
Probably with JPI doing that at Worth and 66, is that, I mean, we got the capacity to do that?
Yeah.
Good.
Remind me again how this one's being financed.
Locally? Yes.
2023 budget. I'll entertain a
Yes,
motion.
and it is the engineer's estimate, which I thought I had offhand here, but this bid is within, if not under, it's within probably 5% of the engineer's estimate. Yeah.
I make a motion to approve the lowest responsible bidder, subject to Bobby and legal counsel, doing contract with JBI for 1.668903.55.
I'll second.
I have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
My motion carries 3-0.
That is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. And the next order of business is our county grants administrator.
Thanks. Thank you, Commissioner. Debbie Bennett-Steersman, County Grants Administrator. I have one item this evening, and that is approval of a grant agreement between the Newburgh Museum and Warrick County for $30,000. This agreement is reflective of the amount of money that the commissioners approved for the Newburgh Museum to do a facility study and location of a new museum in Newburgh. Again, it's $30,000.
Debbie, just for clarification, that was a Newburgh Museum in, is it Newburgh, the corporate limits, or is that in the unincorporated area,
So-
Ohio Township?
Currently, it's in the corporate limits, but they're looking for property in the county, outside the corporate
Okay,
limits.
the unincorporated,
Yes.
okay. That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure. that
Right.
was- I make a motion to approve.
Second.
First and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
My motion carries 3-0.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Anything else for the board?
Make a motion to dismiss.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
My motion carries 3-0.
That in there, might have Andrew wanted to say something. Come on, girlfriend. Oh, baby.
How are you?
It's a goat woman.
Oh, okay.
The professional.
Okay.